I stared at my brother's message, every line cutting through me like an open wound. Don't come to Dad's 60th. You'll humiliate us all. If you show up near the venue, I'll make sure you're escorted out. Classic Lucas, the loyal golden child, forever guarding the Reyes family reputation. Tonight's gala at Barton Creek Country Club was the event of the season in Austin. Tech investors, city officials, and industry powerhouses were gathering to celebrate Daniel Reyes, founder of Reyes Dynamics. Heaven forbid they discover that the daughter he'd cast aside wasn't the failure he'd claimed she was. My phone buzzed again. This time it was from my stepmother, Claire. Lucas is right. Tonight is critical for your father's partnerships. Please, don't stir up any drama. Drama. That was their word for it when I'd refused the family's executive fast track 7 years ago. I hadn't wanted the cushioned role at Reyes Dynamics, or a vice president title handed out like a souvenir. I wanted to carve my own place in the world. So I walked away, and they never once asked where I landed. Across my office, sunlight caught. On a plaque, Fast Company's most disruptive founder under 35. Next to it hung a framed article from Techline Weekly, Isabella Lin and the Quantum Leap in Sustainable Energy Storage. They didn't know Isabella Lin was me. After college, I'd taken my mother's last name. While they dismissed me as rebellious, I was in a lab creating quantum cell batteries, the breakthrough that would shake the energy industry. The same technology Reyes Dynamics was now scrambling to license to stay alive. Another notification lit my phone. David Kim, COO of my company, Lintic Systems. Everything's ready. Summit Capital will announce the partnership at HSAP. Are you sure you want to show your face tonight? I glanced at the embossed invitation still sitting on my desk. A celebration of Daniel Reyes, visionary builder, father. Yes, I replied, steady and certain. It's time. David laughed. Oh, and Olivia Summit asked for you personally. Apparently your father's been begging for a meeting with the Lintic CEO for months. Of course he had. The electric energy sector had left him behind, and my designs were his only lifeline. I dressed deliberately, sleek black, elegant, but unbranded. No designer logos, no flash. Around my neck, I fastened a silver moon pendant, my mother's. It was the only heirloom I'd ever carried, the piece she pressed into my palm before she died, back when my father still boasted about me at conferences and holiday parties. Follow your heart, Isabella, she had whispered, even if it carries you far from the path others choose for you. The Barton Creek Country Club glittered in the distance as my car rolled to the valet. Inside, the celebration was already roaring, chandeliers gleaming over Austin's elite, laughter mingling with the clink of glasses, and a towering banner proclaiming, "Happy 60th birthday, Daniel Reyes." At the check-in table stood Rachel, Lucas's wife, polished and commanding as always with her clipboard. Her face froze when she spotted me stepping from the car. "Isabella," she faltered, flustered. "You can't just walk in. Lucas specifically—" "Good evening, Mrs. Reyes," I cut in smoothly. "I believe you'll find my name on the guest list." Olivia Summit's office confirmed it. Her fingers flew across the tablet. Then her eyes widened. "Wait. Yes. You're listed." Mr. Summit had said he wanted me here, and that was the only reason I walked through those doors. Inside, nothing had changed. Same marble floors, the same curated laughter, the same air of subtle rivalry. It was the world I had abandoned, and it remained frozen in its arrogance. Claire sparkled near the bar, her voice high and rehearsed as she showed off a new diamond cuff. My half-sister Madison clung to a hedge fund analyst half her age, eyes wide with devotion. Then Lucas spotted me. His expression collapsed into a grim mask as he stormed over. "What part of stay away didn't you understand?" "Lovely. To see you too, Lucas," I replied evenly. "Beautiful party." "Security's coming," he muttered through his teeth. You've got 60 seconds before you embarrass yourself. I glanced at my watch. Actually, I think you'll find Mr. Summit is due in 30 seconds, and he asked me to be here for the announcement. Confusion shadowed his face. Summit? What could James Summit possibly want with you? Right on cue, the energy in the room shifted. Conversations slowed, heads turned, and a hush rippled like a tide. James Summit had arrived. At 65, he didn't need to raise his voice or posture. His presence alone commanded silence. Summit Capital was legendary, and everyone knew tonight he would reveal a major partnership. My father practically sprinted forward, hand outstretched as if he could seize the spotlight. James, so glad you made it. Let's talk inside. But Summit's eyes were already searching the crowd. Then they found me. Ah, there she is. A silence sharp as glass fell. James brushed past my father without a glance, walking straight toward me. Or should I say Miss Reyes, he said warmly, extending his hand. An honor to finally meet in person. The room cracked. Claire's cocktail dipped. Madison froze. Lucas looked ready to choke on glass. My father turned ashen. Lucas's lips parted, but no sound came. The threat of security had evaporated. I don't understand. My father stammered at last, staring at Summit. You know Isabella? Summit's eyes crinkled with amusement. Know her, Daniel? Your daughter is one of the most brilliant innovators in the industry today. He let the words sink in before adding, though, judging by the shock in this room, I'm guessing no one realized Isabella Lynn and Isabella Reyes are the same person. The silence shattered as Claire dropped her glass. Crystal exploded against marble like a gunshot. Still, nobody moved. That's not possible, Lucas blurted, voice cracking. She's been off the radar since she left the company. She hasn't done anything. I've been building Lindex systems, I said coolly, stepping closer. That nothing is now valued at $4.2 billion. My father's hand shook as he gripped a chair. Lindic, the quantum battery company, the one everyone's been... That's right, I cut in, meeting his eyes. The elusive CEO you've been chasing. The technology that could save Reyes Dynamics from collapse. You raised her. James cleared his throat politely. Speaking of which, shall we move to the announcement? Wait. My father raised a trembling hand. What announcement? I stepped forward, letting the weight of the moment crush the silence. Summit Capital is entering a strategic partnership with Lindic Systems. Together, we're acquiring controlling interest in Reyes Dynamics. The ballroom erupted. Gasps, whispers, stunned stares. Lucas went scarlet. You can't do this. This is our company. Actually, James interjected smoothly. We can, and we are. He addressed the crowd. Lindic's technology is a generation ahead of the market. Every major manufacturer wants in. But Miss Reyes insisted her family's company be given first opportunity. A courtesy, not an obligation. Claire pushed forward, sharp and shrill. Daniel, you can't let her take over. She'll ruin everything we've built. I laughed softly. Everything you built? I echoed. You mean the company bleeding market share, clinging to gas while the world shifts to electric? The company 3/4 of the way to bankruptcy? For the first time, my father's stoic mask cracked. Years of silence between us flickered in his eyes. Isabella, please, we can talk about this. I stepped closer, my voice low but steady. Now you want to talk? 7 years ago, I told you the future was electric. You told me to stop playing engineer and focus on real business. When I brought you my early prototypes, Lucas called them cute sketches. And when I left to start Lintic, Claire said I was walking away from my responsibilities. I straightened my shoulders. Well, I haven't walked away. I've built something that matters, and now I'm here to save the company that never thought I was worth listening to. James Summit stood silently, watching as the Reyes family unraveled in real time. The pride, denial, and long-buried resentment were impossible to miss. "The time for talking was 7 years ago," I said calmly, locking eyes with my father. "Right now, it's about saving what's left of Reyes Dynamics. You need Lintex technology, and I'm offering it. The only real question is whether you can accept that the daughter you dismissed is now your only way out." Behind Claire, Madison, unusually quiet until then, spoke hesitantly. "But all those times we invited you to dinners, to family events, you always said you were busy." "I was busy," I replied evenly. "Building a company takes time and sacrifice, but none of you ever asked what I was building. You were all too sure I was failing to even imagine that I might be succeeding." James Summit produced a crisp folder and placed it on the table beside him. "The documents are prepared," he said. "Daniel, Lintex Systems will acquire a 60% controlling stake in Reyes Dynamics," I continued, voice unwavering. "I'll step in as CEO and begin implementing our electric vehicle roadmap across all divisions. Production starts in 6 months." My father looked dazed. "And if I refuse?" he asked quietly. "Then Summit and I will offer our tech to your competitors," I answered without hesitation. "And they'll be thrilled to take it." Lucas grabbed his arm. "Dad, you can't be serious. Be quiet, Lucas." The sharpness in Daniel Reyes's voice cut the room like a blade. Everyone froze. Then, slowly, he turned to me. For the first time in years, his eyes actually searched mine. "The battery tech. It's really yours?" His voice had softened, nodded, and pulled out my phone, tapping into Lintex's internal system. Patent filings, prototype schematics, and registered IPs lit up the screen. Every cell design, every energy modulation protocol, every cooling circuit. I met his gaze. "While you pitied me for leaving, I was reshaping the industry from the ground up." He took the phone with trembling hands. I watched his expression shift. Confusion, then awe, then the crushing weight of realization. His eyes filled with tears. "Save it," I said gently but firmly. "We'll talk about the past later. Right now, I need to know. Are you ready to listen to your so-called embarrassment of a daughter?" James Summit stepped forward, pen in hand. The room fell utterly silent. Even the string quartet had stopped playing. With unsteady hands, my father signed the contract. Behind him, Claire gasped sharply. Lucas's fists tightened in rage before he stormed out, dragging Rachel with him. Madison only stared at me, as if seeing me for the first time. "Ladies and gentlemen," Summit announced to the stunned crowd, "please join me in welcoming the new CEO of Reyes Lintex Industries, Miss Isabella Reyes." The applause began hesitantly, then grew. Beside me, my father stood in silence, still reeling. Claire's perfect composure had cracked, but I didn't glance her way. Instead, I reached for the silver crescent moon at my collarbone, my mother's. She had once told me to follow my heart, so I did, every step, all the way to this very moment. That choice had carried me full circle, not as the dutiful daughter they had imagined, but as the woman they never anticipated. Later that evening, when the party thinned to nothing more than soft music and the faint clinking of glasses, I stood alone on the terrace, gazing at the Texas hills dissolving into the night horizon. My father's footsteps, slow and unsteady, came up behind me. "That night you laughed," he said quietly, stopping just short of where I stood. "You tried to show me your designs. I wouldn't even look." I kept my back to him. "No," I answered. "You wouldn't." Silence stretched between us before he spoke again. "I was wrong about everything." When I finally turned, I no longer saw the untouchable titan of industry who had dismissed me. I saw a man staring at his own reflection for the first time. "Can you ever forgive me?" he asked. My fingers brushed against the silver crescent moon pendant at my neck. My mother's keepsake, the emblem of every choice, every ache, every ounce of determination. "It depends, Dad," I said softly. "Are you ready to learn from your daughter?" He met my eyes and nodded. "Teach me." Revenge, I realized, isn't always about proving someone wrong. Sometimes it's about proving yourself right. And once in a rare while, that proof comes with a second chance to rebuild, but this time on your own terms. The next morning, I walked through the glass doors of what had once been Raya's Dynamics. Above the entrance, a new name glowed: Raya's Lintic Industries. As I moved down the main corridor, the old slogan still gleamed in steel letters: "Driving Tomorrow's Future." By the following week, it would be replaced with something far truer. Innovation runs in the family. Lucas's nameplate was gone. Claire's over-polished art installations had disappeared. The building seemed lighter, as if years of weight had been stripped away. In my new office, my father's old one, sunlight stretched across the desk. A package waited for me. Inside, wrapped in tissue, lay a weathered engineering textbook. My mother's. A sticky note marked a page near the back. Her handwriting, still achingly familiar, read, "For Isabella, who will change the world her own way." And I had. Not with permission, not with applause, but with grit, vision, and the quiet fire of a daughter who refused to stay small, just not in the way anyone expected. If you've followed me this far, thank you. For listening to what I couldn't speak for years. I was called a disappointment, brushed aside in boardrooms, laughed out of family dinners, but I kept going. I kept building, learning, pushing, even when no one believed in me. If you've ever been overlooked by the very people who should have lifted you, let my story remind you. You don't need permission to become who you're meant to be. You only need vision, conviction, and the courage to move one step at a time. So I'll ask you, what did this story make you feel? Have you ever sat in a room where no one saw your worth until it was too late? Share with me. I'll read every word. Because your words matter, your voice matters. And if you've had to walk your path alone, then maybe we're not as alone as we think. Here's my advice. Don't wait for recognition. Build anyway, grow anyway. The applause may come years later, or never, but the legacy you leave is yours, forever. Support those daring to do things differently. And if you notice someone quietly working in the shadows, take a second look. They may be reshaping the world, because often, the one most underestimated is the one rewriting the rules. And to anyone still doubting themselves, keep going. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not invisible. You're only just beginning. Isabella Reyes.